cheated on after 10 years. So me 25 female and my ex 28 male had been together for 10 years. I broke up with him 2 months ago. Recently our relationship was just filled with a lot of arguments, and some days apart here and there. I live and take care of my mom who has cancer. He has his own room at his parents' house. They live an hour away. Months before we broke up, I noticed everything I do would irritate him, and when I'd ask him what's wrong, he would say nothing. I never understood why he couldn't just tell me what was bothering him so we could fix it. Maybe for months before we broke up, he told me someone new got transferred to his job. He works 5 minutes away from my house. He said it was a female and I didn't think anything of it. A week before I broke up with him, I bought him lunch and took it to his job. I don't know why, but something made me ask if he was talking to someone new. He looked at me and said, "No, are you okay?" A day later I cried to him and expressed to him how alone I felt in our relationship. My mom fighting cancer, my car had just been stolen, my hair was falling out, I was so depressed. There were days I would cry next to him in bed and he wouldn't hug me or ask me if I was okay. I told him I really just needed him. The next day he went to work. I never went through his phone or watch or anything. I trusted him, but he left his watch at my house that day and I went through it. I found messages of him and his co-worker. 20 female. I wasn't sad at that moment. I was shocked. I went to his job and asked him what was going on. All he said, "We can talk about it later." I couldn't believe that this guy, that was my best friend at one point, spent 10 years of my life with, could see how hurt I was and act like it wasn't that big of a deal. "We can talk later." I told him I was done and I left. So the night I cried to him, he laid in my bed and texted her until 2 in the morning. A week later he calls me and says all they would do is drink at work, whatever that conversation ends, and I still don't feel any better about the situation. A month later and he starts texting me about how sorry he is, how much he loves me. Then a person you may know shows up on a friend's Facebook and it's the coworker he cheated on me with, and a picture of her in his car. I'm a nail tech in my city. I had a client today whose son works with my ex, and she says the day I went to confront him at his job, she was there hiding, and he goes to her house. Has been texting me, "Good morning, hope you have a good day," since yesterday, and all I do is sit here and think, is he fucking kidding me? It's so fucked. Because every time I have to go run an errand or do something, I have to pass by his job and am reminded every day what he did to me, even though I didn't do anything wrong. I cry every night because of the way he hurt and disrespected me. I know I won't ever go back to him, but sometimes I think about the person he was to me, and it makes me so sad to think everything is different now. I thought I felt alone while I was with him, but now I feel 1000x worse. There's nothing I can do or tell myself to get out of these moments of sadness. They can last 5 minutes or one thought and ruin my whole day. I don't know what to do. I know I deserve better. I was good to him, but sometimes I feel like I just want to hug him because at one point he was the only person I had, and to know all his texts about being sorry are lies. Because I know how he acts when he cares. They just leave me so confused. I wish I knew the reason why. How could he hurt me like this, knowing how much I was already hurting? Story 2. Girlfriend cheated on me, and my anxiety is crippling. Any tips? My 29 male girlfriend, 26 female of nearly 5 years, cheated on me for about a month. She was a SAHM for 2.5 years with our daughter while I worked. With prices skyrocketing, once she was done breastfeeding, she had to go back to work to supplement my income because I wasn't making enough to support us anymore. She started her first job in nearly 3 years the first week in April. By April 22nd exact day, she was leaving work to go hang out with a co-worker until nearly midnight. Each weekend day she worked. She only works 3 nights a week. Allegedly, he tried to kiss her, but she stopped him and left shortly thereafter for whatever reason, even knowing it was wrong, continued to hang out with him. Knowing his feelings for her and her curiosity of exploring her feelings for him. Side note, he also has a girlfriend of about 5 years, which makes the whole thing even more disgusting. I'll admit things between us were absolute dog shit because of a multitude of reasons, but I'm responsible enough to admit that a lot of our undoing was my fault. None of which justifies her cheating, but I can understand it to an extent. You're unhappy in a relationship, you get nothing but positive attention from someone. Naturally, due to your instincts, you're going to want to gravitate towards the thing that makes you feel good. Fast forward to May 13th, a lot of shit happened between the first time they hung out and I staged a little spy down. My friend hung out close to her, watched the two of them drive to a closed business parking lot, and then drove to my house to watch the baby while I went to confront them. Long story short, I witnessed it. He was on top of her. She since spilled all of the details of their 3-week fling, excluding how she felt about him. She doesn't have the balls to admit she liked another man while dating someone. And I decided I wanted to try again. First question, was it foolish of me to do that? It's strange, but due to this situation and then us going on hiatus for 3 weeks, it made my heart and my feelings for her feel like they did when we first started dating. We haven't felt this way in a long time, and it's so strange to feel this way again, especially when she hurt me to the extent that she swears it was never about him, it was about her. She was unhappy and felt trapped and self-sabotaged her way out of the relationship because, again, she didn't have the balls to do it herself. Anyway, our sex life has been on fire. Not the best sex we've had, but easily the most we've done it. In such a short time frame, we're even exploring new routes of our sex life. Our romanticism has also hit new heights. It really does feel like we're in the honeymoon phase all over again. There's just one problem: my anxiety. The guy has since quit because he is trying to work on it with his ex. Like me, she still works there, and everyone in the store knows of the situation. She is constantly made fun of. She describes it as a playful way, but I don't see it that way, for falling for his tricks and being manipulated by him when she's just as much at fault as he is. Whenever she goes to work, it feels like my newly developed anxiety tries to personally kick me to my lowest point. I've had anxiety for a long time, but I've always had outlets and things to control it. So I never felt it, especially not like this. This is a whole new ball game for me. For those of you in similar situations where your significant other cheated and you're still with them, what helps? What things can I try to quell this overbearing feeling in my chest? Every time she leaves for work, I've already made the difficult decision to stay, knowing full well the consequences. I'm not about to take it back, especially when we're together. I feel like a whole new man. I haven't started therapy yet, next week, hopefully, and none of my home remedies are working, except drinking. Naturally, I don't want to have to turn to that 3 or 4 nights a week, but I have nowhere else to turn. It's a temporary fix, sure, but it's still a fix. It numbs me enough to not feel anxious. And that's what my end goal is, to just feel better, to trust her again.